successful. That strategy worked wonders for me. When I started to invest, I thought that the same would apply to investing. I trusted financial advisors, bankers and investing gurus. I thought that the world of investing was fair and that I could win the financial game of life by trusting their advice. I lost a lot of money because of that, and I am not alone. From my experience of talking to thousands of people who attended my seminars, I can say that most investors are in the same position as I was. Most investors think that their invested money works for them, but in reality, it works mostly for the financial industry, and when they realize it, it's usually too late. So, before you invest another cent, you need to be aware of the hidden problems that we all face when investing. If you are not, your chances of getting good returns are close to zero. I spent years studying the workings of the financial industry, and I found 6 major problems that people face when investing their money. These problems are the reasons why most investors lose a very big part of their potential returns. I call them the 6 dark forces of investing. Get to know them, and Darth Vader will seem like a good guy to you 3. Dark force number 1. The commission camouflage effect. To understand the first dark force that helps investors lose a large part of their potential investing returns, we need to go to Las Vegas. I don't gamble, but I like to visit Las Vegas from time to time. It's a nice experience, and it can be fun. I'm writing this chapter from my hotel room overlooking the Vegas Strip. I will be staying here for 5 days, attending a mastermind event with fellow public speakers and business owners. You probably agree with me that when in Vegas, you can hardly avoid casinos. It's just amazing to see all these people putting money in the slot machines and playing roulette. People are always drawn to the opportunities that offer big rewards for little or no work. Although they know that most players lose money, maybe a few people get lucky sometimes. But in the end, it's the house that always wins. The house has an edge, and there is a mathematical certainty that it will earn 2 to 25% of all the money that goes through that casino. But this is actually okay. When we are in a casino, we know our odds. We are aware that our chances of winning, over the long run, are next to none. Now you are probably wondering, what do casinos have to do with investing and retirement planning? The answer is a lot. We all know that we have to invest if we want to provide for ourselves in old age, for our family, to have a better lifestyle and make our money work for us. We're also trying to win the game. That means getting good returns on our investments, such as stocks, funds, bonds and other financial instruments. We also know that the investing world has a house with an edge. The house always gets some commissions and fees. And again, that's okay, as long as we are aware of that. But now comes the ugly part. Investors are mostly unaware that the house not only has an edge, but that it has also rigged the game. And by the house, I mean the financial institutions, fund managers, financial advisors, brokers, etc. For they have rigged the game in such a cunning way that even experienced investors don't notice it most of the time. Because of that, most investors lose 50 to 70% of all the investing gains they would get over the course of their investing career. What does this mean for you as an investor? Simply put, if your investments could bring you a gain of, let's say $100, over the long run, you are getting only $30 to $50, because the game is rigged. Ouch. Think about that for a second. You are now 60 years old, and instead of seeing $1 million gain in your investment account, you only have $300,000 or $500,000. Think of all you could do with the difference. Buy a beach house, retire early, do what you enjoy most. The possibilities are endless. But you can't, because the house got your money. Now you are probably wondering, how does this happen? How did they rig the investing game? First is the way that the commission and fee system works. We all know that there are some fees and commissions associated with any investment product, but what we can hardly grasp is how the commissions influence our long-term investing returns. Let me give you an example. If you invest your money in a simple mutual fund, you are paying a 2% annual fee, give or take. And this doesn't sound like much. When your financial advisor tells you that you are paying a 2% annual fee, your brain says, okay, this is not a problem. They take 2 and I keep 98, right? Wrong. The problem is that our brain can only do simple calculations. 2% out of $1,000? 1% of $1,000 equals $10. So 2% must be $20. No problem. We did that in school. I'm a math genius. But when you add a longer time period, and most investors are investing for the long run, maybe 10, 20, 30 or even 40 years, Our brain just can't process the math anymore. If I ask you how much is 2% deducted annually for 30 years in a market that grows by 8% on average, your brain goes, "Are you kidding me? I'm not R2, D2. Our brains are just not wired to calculate complex calculations like this, and that is perfectly normal. Most people wouldn't be able to calculate this, even with the help of a computer. That is why we subconsciously make some approximations and assumptions. If 2% of my invested money in 1 year is a small number, then a 2% annual fee can't be a serious problem over the long run." 5. But unfortunately, our brains fail us badly in this case. The financial industry knows this and takes full advantage of it. That is why they will never explain the effect of commissions over the long run to you. Even if you have the best financial advisor, it just doesn't happen. A small annual commission is a devil in disguise. In the best case, it can cause you a lot of financial problems when you retire, and in the worst case, it can wipe you out. We will go into all the details, and I will give you some specific numbers later in Chapter 5, but for now, just remember that, as a rule of thumb, a 2% annual fee halves your retirement pot in the long run. Now let me ask you a question. What would you say if your financial advisor offered you a financial product where you got to keep only half of the future returns? If you are like me, you would run away as fast as you could. But most investors don't, and buy their financial advisor a box of chocolates because he or she provided them with great advice. Why? Because nobody told them about what I call the commission camouflage effect. The commission camouflage effect states that small annual commissions tend to eat a large part of our investing returns over the long run. It's one of the deadliest concepts in investing, and just by getting to know it, you can save a surprisingly large amount of money. For most investors, this amount can easily go into the six-figure range. 6. Exhibit 2.1 The commission camouflage effect of a 2% annual fee over the long run. Let me summarize. The first dark force of investing is the destructive power of the commission camouflage effect that makes you believe that you are paying a small fee when you are, in fact, paying a very large one. Because of that effect, I sometimes joke that the odds of winning in Las Vegas are greater than on Wall Street. Unfortunately, there is a lot of truth in that claim. The next step, join me on a free webinar. Can 2020 recession be your biggest investment opportunity? The novel virus is bad news for the economy and for the stock market. Dow Jones fell sharply. Fed lowered interest rates to zero, with almost no effect, and a 2020 recession is now a certainty. But did you know that the greatest fortunes can be made in times just like this? In fact, the best opportunities present themselves to people who can think and act while others are panicking. There is an old quote, saying by when there's blood in the streets to the power of, and in the next weeks and months there will be a lot of to the power of on the streets. That is why I prepared a webinar where I will give you some key guidelines on how to grab perhaps the biggest investment opportunity of our lifetime. In this webinar I will cover what is happening with stocks, gold and other assets right now, and my 2 scenarios of what will happen by the end of this year. How long can we expect this crisis to last? 7. Can this crisis be the best investment opportunity in decades? What are the best financial products to buy in times like this? 7 keys to successful investing in turbulent times. Click here and register right now. Dark force number 2. Reward corruption. Once upon a time, there was an insurance intermediary company that employed a couple of hundred insurance brokers. Life was good. The agents were meeting their clients, identifying their needs and advising them on which insurance policies to use for their situations. They were happy. The customers were happy. But then something happened. The insurance company they represented created a new product, a whole life insurance policy where a part of your monthly payment goes toward insurance, and a part towards investment in mutual funds. There was something fascinating about this product that made quite a stir with all the brokers. The sales commissions they would get when they sold this product were 3 times higher compared to any other product. Human nature quickly took hold, and in a period of 1 month, all the brokers focused on selling this product. After all, who wouldn't grab a carrot like this? All of a sudden, this product became a solution for almost all the needs of their customers. The typical sales approach was, "Customer, for any problem you might have, we will sell you this product. It's the best and the only option. Buy it now." Resistance is futile, and it sold well because brokers were very motivated to sell it. A big payout was just around the corner for them. 8. The CEO of the company was ecstatic. He hadn't seen profits like this for a long time, And when something sells well, why not give it an additional kick? So he organized a sales competition. The broker who sold the most policies in the next quarter would win a 6-month lease on a new Ferrari. If the brokers were very motivated before, they were on fire now. Now, all this would not be so bad if the product was a good product for the customers. But the reality was that this product was one of the worst financial products out there, charging enormous commissions and fees. The second dark force of investing is the reward systems of most financial institutions. These reward systems can motivate their employees and partners to be biased and highly motivated to sell something that is not right for the customer and often leads to unethical or corrupt behavior. When employees sell high commission products, they make more money, and customers make less. It's that simple. The higher the commissions and fees, the worse off are the customers. That is why the most popular financial products are the worst ones for the customer. I call this the chain of financial ruin. 9. Exhibit 2.2 The chain of financial ruin. It is the main reason why the financial industry is one of the most profitable industries around. In the US, it employs less than 5% of the population, but it produces more than 30% of all the corporate profits. According to the US Bureau of Economic Analysis, how is that profit made? From the customers, of course. The next step. Join me on a free webinar. Can 2020 recession be your biggest investment opportunity? The novel virus is bad news for the economy and for the stock market. Dow Jones fell sharply. Fed lowered interest rates to zero, with almost no effect, and a 2020 recession is now a certainty. But did you know that the greatest fortunes can be made in times just like this? In fact, the best opportunities present themselves to people who can think and act while others are panicking. There is an old quote saying, "Buy when there's blood in the streets to the power of," and in the next weeks and months there will be a lot of to the power of on the streets. That is why I prepared a webinar where I will give you some key guidelines on how to grab perhaps the biggest investment opportunity of our lifetime. In this webinar I will cover what is happening with stocks, gold and other assets right now, and my 2 scenarios of what will happen by the end of this year. How long can we expect this crisis to last? 10. Can this crisis be the best investment opportunity in decades? What are the best financial products to buy in times like this? 7 keys to successful investing in turbulent times. Click here and register right now. Dark force number 3. Bad guy setting the rules of the game. I met with someone not too long ago. He was a typical alpha male in his 50s. He was wearing an expensive dark gray suit with a black tie. If you talked to him, you could detect a hint of a superiority complex. "We put Apple stock in every managed portfolio," he said. "We think that Apple stock will underperform in the future, but it's better to have it in all of our customers' portfolios." "Why would you do that if you think that Apple's stock will underperform?" I replied, surprised. "Do you know the saying that nobody ever got fired for choosing IBM?" He said without a sense of wrongdoing. "People love the Apple brand and their products. That is why it looks good to have Apple in their portfolios. It's good for the sales. But if the stock underperforms, the customers will not blame us for choosing it. So it's a win-win proposition for us. We sell more and they will not blame us if the stock doesn't do well." I must say that at first I couldn't decide if he was joking or if he was serious. Unfortunately, for his clients, he was serious. I think that was when I gave up hope that the financial industry even remotely cared about the customer. I wanted to say to him, "Wouldn't you rather take 30 minutes of your time to record a video educating your clients about why you don't put Apple in their portfolios?" But I saw that it would be useless. It really doesn't matter what will happen with the Apple stock. Maybe it will go well in the future, maybe not. I don't know. But I'm sure as hell not in good hands when I hire a financial advisor or wealth manager that thinks like this. And neither are you. 11. The third dark force of investing is that there are just too many bad guys in the industry. Lack of ethics is so ingrained in most companies that they are not even aware of it anymore. It's just a normal way of doing business. In short, they don't really care about their customers, about you. All they care about are their sales targets and profits. Case in point, the Wells Fargo shocking scandal, where federal regulators found out that Wells Fargo employees secretly created millions of unauthorized bank and credit card accounts from